Conditions May Apply by CinnamonPinecones. Read by Distracted by Books. Chapter 168. Step 3. Oh, frick, what's he got himself into this time? Shinso-san. She heard a low voice greet. She spun around and smiled. She'd been looking forward to this meeting in a morose sort of way. It was a grim topic they were about to discuss, but she was finally going to be able to help properly and meet this tall, blonde stranger. She wasn't sure what she had expected from Aizawa's partner, but apparently it wasn't this. The man was dressed in pastels, with a few delicate braids in his long, silky hair, and a pair of bright red glasses perched on his nose. They certainly made a handsome couple. Aizawa-san, hello, she greeted cheerfully. And you are? She gave the man a chance to introduce himself. Yamada Hizashi, they replied with a polite nod. It's good to meet you. Did you two order drinks? You should if you didn't. You can't go wrong. I haven't had anything bad here. Yes, we're familiar with the place. Aizawa responded to her before turning to his partner. Do you want me to order? Yeah, I'll try to get all the small talk done for you then, shall I? Give me that lavender chai thing. I got that one time. Yamada shot back with a smirk. Aizawa rolled his eyes, but didn't try to deny anything, walking away to the queue without another word. She laughed good-naturedly at the display. Okay, so shall we speed run the getting to know you spiel before he gets back? I'm Shinso Kohaku. I'm a Cancer. I like long walks on the beach, and I work at the library down the street. Oh, I'm a Cancer too. Should we just leave him and head to the beach? He glanced back at the line as he took his seat. Yeesh, the line's moving fast. I'm also a teacher at UA, and I forgot if you said a fourth thing. He rushed out as if they were actually speed-running small talk for Aizawa's sake. You are? What do you teach? Is that how you two met? And the fourth thing was my name, which we already covered, so you're good, she replied. English, and no, we go way back. We were in the same class at UA as teens, and we've been stuck to each other in some capacity ever since, they replied. Her brain took a moment to buffer before everything fell into place. English? Oh my gosh, I didn't even recognize you. Yamada mimed zipping his lips shut before she said anything else. She glanced around to see if anyone was looking, but thankfully they weren't. Now would not be the most ideal time to be mobbed by fans. President Mike was in the top 50, weren't they? Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. I don't get recognized often, but I'd rather not draw attention if I can help it. No, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I understand. I feel like I'm in a movie now, meeting with two pros in a coffee shop. I already felt a little silly not telling Hitoshi about this, but now it feels like some serious subterfuge. She joked, yeah, I just thought it would be better not to tell them. No one likes to know that people are talking about them behind their backs. Izuku stresses too much as it is. He doesn't need to worry about what we're up to when he's trying to have fun with his friends. Yes, I agree. But it still feels weird. It's like we're the teens sneaking out, you know? No, I don't. I was a model teen. I never snuck out. They shot back with clear sarcasm. I'm sure, she agreed. So, do you like teaching? How did you two fall into this gig? Oh yeah, I love it. I was always helping my classmates study in school. It just comes naturally to me, I guess. Plus, I was kind of born to publicly speak in some capacity, and teaching fit both of those talents perfectly. As for Sho, well, Sho's a different story. He's teaching because he wants to see change in the heroics industry. He hit a wall while patrolling, not literally, but he's probably done that a few times too. And then he pivoted careers a bit to join me, he explained. How about you? How'd you end up at the library? I was a lonely kid. I always had my nose in a book, and I haven't ever been able to change that, so here I am. Well, I haven't been able to change the book part, at least. Thankfully, I'm not so lonely these days, she answered honestly. That's good. I'm glad we all got to follow our passions. Most people don't get that kind of opportunity. Lucky us, he answered with a smile. Yeah, we are pretty lucky, aren't we? I'm glad the kids are getting that opportunity as well. They deserve it. Even if it has stressed me out more than anything else in the world, she admitted. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I've always worried about my students. I mean, I know what goes into heroics, but now with Izuku, it's just hell, I can't even send him to the mall with his friends for the day without going into a tailspin. That kid attracts danger like no one I have ever seen. They've been there, what, a half hour? And I'm just waiting for my phone to go off with a call from the hospital or something. Why are we getting calls from the hospital? Aizawa asked, returning with their drinks. Oh, just talking about how we haven't seen Izuku for more than 5 minutes, so he's probably negotiating with a bank robber by now, Yamada explained. Aizawa scoffed as he took his seat next to Yamada. I don't doubt it. Damn problem child. Aizawa cursed lovingly. Oh, come on, you two. I'm sure he's fine. Kohaku butted in. They both let out a weary sigh, and she had to hold back a laugh at that. They looked like new parents with a baby who wouldn't stop waking them up in the middle of the night, not new parents of an astoundingly independent 16-year-old. All right, everyone, meet back here at 3 o'clock. Ida dismissed the class, and everyone broke off. Okay, let's plot a route for our troop. What does everyone need? He asked, turning back to the three of them. I need bug spray for sure. I hate bug bites so much. I think I can make do with the rest. Uraraka answered. Why did you come to the mall if all you need is bug spray? Hitoshi prodded. Well, I was going to say I wanted to hang out with my friends, but then you showed up, and now I'm not so sure. She shot back with a pleasant tone. Uraraka, don't be rude, Ida chastised. She was just joking, Ida, he clarified, as the two glared at each other as if they were actually fighting. Either they weren't going to be friends, or Ida was going to understand sarcasm by graduation. Izuki was hoping for the latter, but the lack of progress in the first term was shaking his confidence. I see. Moving on then, Shinso, what do you need? I wanted to get a better backpack. I haven't needed one since grade school, and it's in a sad state. That and general athletic wear. What about you, Izuku? I could use some shoes, he admitted. Mike had granted him mercy on their shopping spree in the shoe department. Why the hell were shoes so expensive? They recommend shoes that have already been broken in, Ida reprimanded. These are the only shoes I have, he said, gesturing to his ratty sneakers. He technically had his boots, but those were part of his Ivy gear, and it didn't feel right to wear them anymore. He'd tried a few times, but he always found himself looking down at them and spiraling. Well, they're definitely broken in, Hitoshi observed, and got a rough smack on the arm from Uraraka for his troubles. Ida furrowed his brow and looked between the two of them to assess if the hit was amicable or not before he pressed on. We should head to the sporting goods store first. It should have everything we need. If not, we can reassess and make a new game plan, Ida decided. Izuku bought the cheapest pair of shoes he could find at the store while everyone else ambled around for a while and decided on which store to go to next. Ida needed to go to a specialty store for pants, and Hitoshi wanted to look around a different clothing store on the way. Uraraka had gotten her bug spray and was just going with the flow until they passed a boba stand and insisted they needed to stop. Though it was better with friends, Izuku never did like the mall, so he assumed that was the reason for the persistent headache and unrelenting sense of dread. It had been spiking and abating as they walked with no apparent pattern, and it was making it hard to think. The pain was strange and very specific. The only other time he had felt something like this was in Hosu, right before everything went to shit. And then again, right before that Nomu introduced a claw to the inside of his lung. A series of observations that was not helping ease his tension. It was a normal day, broad daylight, in the middle of a busy mall. If something catastrophic was going to happen, there would be visible clues. He was just being paranoid. He's pretty sure All Might would have told him if One for All came with supernatural premonition anyway. His reassurances were ineffective. He felt like he couldn't breathe, and the large groups of people around him weren't helping. He needed some air. He needed to get out of here just for a second. He would get some air, and then he would calm down. And then he would come back and have a normal, nice day with his friends. You all right, Greenie? Hitoshi asked as if on cue. Yeah, sorry, I'm fine. Just not good with crowds, I think. I was just gonna run to the restroom for a minute to get some air, actually, he replied. Do you want me to come with? No, He trailed off, not really sure where he was going with that. Need space? Hitoshi finished his sentence. Yeah, he agreed. That's fine. It's super busy today, isn't it? I guess that's what happens when you go on a Saturday, right when most schools let out for summer. I'll let the others know, and we'll keep our phones handy. Just text us when you want to come back, and we'll let you know where we ended up, Hitoshi replied. He was so thoughtful. Sounds good. Thanks, he said, and slipped away through the crowd. The further he got from his friends, the worse the headache and feeling of imminent doom became. He couldn't stop himself from whipping his head around like it was on a swivel. He didn't know what was happening, and everything felt like a threat. When a hand fell onto his shoulder, half of him was screaming to grab it and flip whoever the hand belonged to over him, and the other half was too paralyzed to do anything. The small, broken bit of optimism he had left hoped it was Hitoshi, but he'd lived long enough to know better than to listen to that. Oh, you're that kid from UA, right? You're the one who won the first year sports festival, aren't you? The voice greeted. He knew that voice, even through the faux casual tone. He couldn't forget it if he tried. That was Shigaraki. For frick's sake, was he following them the whole time, waiting to get one of them alone? God, he was such a dumbass. He just delivered himself on a silver platter. Wait, does that mean the headache was warning him? It happened twice in Hosu and a third time here. Twice is a coincidence, but three's a trend. A very interesting development. However, he currently had bigger fish to fry. A hand that could turn him to dust was currently one extended finger away from doing just that. He could feel 4 points of pressure on his shoulder. He needed to get out of here. He went to spin around and sweep his opponent's legs out from under him, but the moment he twisted out of the grip on his shoulder, Shigaraki's other hand closed around his neck. He didn't get the chance to do more than an awkward sidestep before he was forced back to stillness. Oh, come now, little hero. Don't be so tetchy. I just want to talk, he taunted. What are you playing at, Shigaraki? He bit back. Don't make a scene. I'm just an old friend who ran into you at the mall, Shigaraki cooed playfully. I told you. I just want to chat. Quit acting so tense. You'll draw attention. All right. Cool. Wonderful. This was just great. Okay, Izuku, life or death situation. This is your bread and butter. Get your head in the game. As subtly as he could manage, he reached for his pocket and pressed the button on the side of his phone 5 times, just like Mike and Eraser had shown him how to do not 3 days prior. He had backup on the way. Everything was going to be fine. Why should I listen to you? He shot back. I have my hand around your throat, Izuku. Did you forget? The moment I touched, the use of his given name made him want to punch Shigaraki in his smug, crusty face. No, I didn't forget, but I could destroy a ship with one punch. Did you forget? At best, you've got a stalemate. You're not making it out of here, he shot back. He just needed to stall. Or scare Shigaraki off. That would be good too. Anything to get the hand off his throat would be great, actually. Oh, you're feisty. Are you threatening me? That's not very heroic, Shigaraki replied, clearly not taking him seriously. I've already got a gun to your head, little hero. You're not winning this fight. Even if you do, I'll have a second before I'm gone. That's more than enough time to turn you into nothing but a crater on the ground and a distant memory, he countered. Shigaraki barked out a frankly disgusting laugh at that. It was raspy, like rubbing two pieces of sandpaper together, and he did it right into Izuku's ear. Now that certainly isn't very heroic. Are you going to kill me? Shigaraki taunted. I'd rather not, but you're not giving me much of a choice. Either we both walk away, or neither of us do. It's your call, he replied coolly, not letting the man's threat intimidate him. Don't they teach you self-preservation at that stupid school? He cursed and tightened his grip. You're not how I thought you'd be, little hero. How intriguing. Maybe you can give me some insight. You were one of the students who took down the hero killer, weren't you? Izuku tensed slightly. Shigaraki wasn't supposed to know that. Ha! I wasn't sure, but you just confirmed it. The timeline didn't add up. Endeavor was busy with my nomos when the call went out that the hero killer was apprehended. Just more lies to feed the public, right? Look at them all, walking around without a care in the world. Any one of them could use their quirks and turn this courtyard into a massacre. And yet they're smiling. It pisses me off. He ranted nonsensically for a moment before turning his face right into Izuku's ear. Tell me, why was the media so intent on the stupid hero killer? My Nomus destroyed half the city, but he's all they talked about. Why the frick was he asking him of all people? Did he really just want to talk? He knew the guy was crazy, but this was a complete strategical failure. He was putting himself out on the board for no reason. Anonymity and secrecy were the League's biggest defense right now. Risking that for a chat with a high schooler was foolish. Did he know about One for All? No, that didn't seem likely. If he knew, he wouldn't be risking Izuku getting away. He would have warped both of them back to whatever hole in the wall he crawled out of. All logic pointed to Shigaraki being a frickin' idiot, which means that All for One either wasn't involved or didn't have nearly as tight of a leash on his pet as they thought he did. All right, he wanted to talk? They could talk. That was fine. Backup couldn't be far now. How long had it been? The hero killer has been on the loose for years. His capture was bound to get more media coverage. He answered with the first thought that came to mind. Ha! I broke through the impenetrable guard of UA twice, and I constructed a citywide attack, the likes of which Japan hasn't seen in decades. That doesn't make any sense. Shigaraki cursed and tightened his grip again. So much so that it started to become a concerted effort to breathe. The hero killer had motive. He had goals. In his own twisted way, he was trying to make the world a better place. You don't have that. No one knows what the League is after. There's nothing admirable about destruction for destruction's sake. Shigaraki, honest to God, growled in response, like a feral dog. The grip around his neck tightened again, and his breath became desperate wheezes. The man was clearly compromised, but he was stupid enough to pull this stunt with a rational mind. What would he be stupid enough to reveal now? Backup had to be close. And if Shigaraki managed to slip away like he did last time, they wouldn't have another chance like this. So, Shigaraki, he paused to wheeze in another breath. What is All for One after? Who knows? Shigaraki laughed, but the atmosphere shifted quickly. Shigaraki took a sharp inhale, the way one would when they came to a sudden realization. Ah, I see it now. All the dots connected. Why the hero killer makes me so angry. Why you irritate me so much. Everything makes sense. It's him. He let out another deranged laugh. The problem is All Might. Yeah, that's it. That's the most rational explanation. I didn't even see it, even though it was right in front of me the whole time. What was I worrying about so much? It's simple. He's why these morons are able to smile thoughtlessly. They feel so safe because that garbage pro is smiling thoughtlessly too, as if there's no one in the world he can't save. The hand around his neck tightened again. He couldn't breathe at all now. Given that he could barely breathe as it was, he figured he had about 45 to 60 seconds before he started to black out. Spots had already started dancing in his vision. He couldn't wait any longer for backup. He had to do something now or he was going to die. Shigaraki was still ranting hysterically, and his grip was so tight that it was starting to tremble against Izuku's throat. He really hoped that he was distracted enough to not see this coming. As fast as he physically could, Izuku grabbed Shigaraki's wrist and flung him forward over his shoulder and onto the ground in front of him. He gasped for air desperately and was surprised and grateful to find that he still could. He brought his hand up to his throat and it came away bloodied, but he didn't have time to assess the injury. People had backed away from the two of them, but Shigaraki was still alive and conscious, albeit gasping on the ground with one limp arm. He wanted to shout for everyone to get back, but he couldn't. His throat was too battered, and he was still struggling to get air down through the swollen mess. You little brat! Shigaraki cursed at him through heaving breaths. Shigaraki stood up to charge at him again, and Izuku took a fighting stance. However, before the psycho made it halfway across the divide, a portal opened up beneath him. Instinct told him to grab him before he could get away, but something wrapped around his chest and pulled him back before he got the chance. The force sent him sprawling to the ground on his back, looking up at the sky. Izuku, no! What the hell were you thinking? A familiar voice shouted at him. A shadow passed over him, and before his eyes could adjust to the lack of light, he already recognized the shape. Phenomenal timing, Eraser. Thinking your response time could use some work, he choked out through scratchy breaths and violent coughs. He could barely hear Eraser curse under his breath in response as he did his best to wrestle his lungs back into working order. Injuries besides the obvious? The shape asked him more audibly. He just shook his head. Apparently the blood on his neck wasn't bad enough to be concerned about. That was nice, at least. Izuku! Oh my god, I'm covering you in bubble wrap and never letting you leave the house. Another familiar and momentarily quirk-enhanced voice came running up behind the first. He'll just dust you. He'll just dust the wrap and you'll lead him right to Kimchi. Don't bother. He brushed off Mike's concern as he stood up and turned around. Mike was looking at him like he was an alien, and Eraser just rolled his eyes. Welcome to the past 2 years of my life. Let me see your neck, kid. Eraser dismissed them too. Was that who it looked like? Mike asked, realizing their concern was largely useless at the moment. Izuku nodded. Right. I'm going to get this place evacuated, they said, and walked off as Eraser got a closer look at his neck. Eraser reached up to dab at the wound with an alcohol pad, and he instinctively flinched away. His adrenaline was fading, and his brave face was falling with it. Sorry, go ahead. I bet his hand was filthy. He tried to joke, but he tripped over his own words. Eraser ignored the poor attempt at humor and started dabbing the pad against the mess on his neck. He didn't get very far into the procedure before they heard Mike yelling, "Those of you in the immediate vicinity, cover your ears. It's about to get loud." Mike shouted without his quirk from his place in the middle of the courtyard, awkwardly perched on top of some sort of abstract sculpture. He and Eraser both shot their hands up to their ears. They knew quite well when Mike told you to cover them, you'd better listen fast. Evacuate the area. This is an active crime scene. We advise all shoppers to go home as the threat has not been apprehended, Mike called out with his quirk after giving everyone nearby a chance to brace themselves. Eraser sighed when he lowered his hands and got out a new alcohol pad, as the one he had been holding had just been dragged through his hair. Damn it, why is it always you? Another irritated and familiar voice called out from the crowd behind him. He didn't turn around because Eraser was still tending to his neck, but he knew that was Hitoshi. Ah, good, Aizawa-sensei, you're already here, he heard Ida's unmistakable call from the same spot behind him. Midoriya, are you okay? Uraraka, the last of the troop, asked at a much more reasonable volume once they reached a much more reasonable distance. She shot the three of them a blind thumbs up as he didn't know what Eraser was doing with whatever remained of his neck. It didn't hurt all that much, but he wasn't sure if that was just the nerves talking yet. What the hell was that? An out-of-breath woman's voice added her 2 cents from somewhere behind Eraser. Mom? Hitoshi asked. Shinso-san? End of chapter.